Hi guys, I'm Gasha. Welcome to the channel and welcome as always to our coffee times to talk about books, to talk a little bit about horror as well. And today I am here to bring you my New Year, New Books book haul.
It's coffee time!
Actually, in today's video, I do have 22 books to show you, but I only purchased myself 9 of them. I was lucky enough to get presents from friends, subscribers, and even I got a couple of books by an author. So I am extremely grateful, and I want to start with the books that I was given so that I could personally thank the people that took the time and spend their money to send me books. Before we go to all of those books, if you're new here and if you love books and horror, please consider subscribing before you leave, and also hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more coffee times. Let's start with books. So the first 2 books that I got to show you are books by an author that I got in touch thanks to Twitter, and he was so kind and so nice to me, and he agreed to send me his books even though I live in Germany, which I am extremely grateful for, and that is Eric La Roca. So he is a horror writer and his debut novel is this one, Starving Ghosts in Every Thread. It just came out in May 2020 and it has amazing reviews on Goodreads. I know people that have given this book 5 stars and say that it is so special and it is so different and captivating. So I'm really excited to read this one. And he also sent me an arc of his new novel that is coming out in March of 2021, and it's called A Bright Enchanted Suffering, and this is a compilation of 2 short stories. So since this is a self-published author and his second novel is coming out in March 2021, I think I'm going to make a reading vlog slash spoiler-free review of me reading these 2 so that I can tell you a little bit more about them and I can introduce you a little bit more to the writing style and type of stories by the author. I am also going to leave down below in the description box his Twitter and his website in case you want to get in touch with him or you want to grab a copy of his books. Then I got a book from one of my good friends here in booktube, Kayla from Crack Into a Good Book. So she sent me for Christmas Whole Kingdom by Kira Jane Buxton, and she sent this one to me and said she would like to buddy read this with me, so that's what we're gonna do. And I wanted to check out this book because everything I have heard about it is that it is extremely weird. I believe we are following the story of a crow and we are kind of, oh, that's matching, matching, not on purpose. Anyways, I think we're following the story of a crow that is living with the humans, and he's telling us, you know, his favorite things to do, like exchange curse words with other crows and eat Cheetos. And then there is some sort of apocalypse, and then we are living the story through the eyes of this crow. So I thought this was a very weird indeed and bizarre concept, so I am excited to check it out to see how it is. The next book was sent to me by the lovely Leslie over at The Nerdy Narrative, another one of my favorite booktubers. I just love her positive energy so much. She always cheers me up no matter how I'm feeling that day. So she sent me True Crime by Samantha Kolesnik, and I have heard that this is a very brutal book. It is very harsh, and so there's a lot of trigger warnings. Please check it out before you decide to buy the book. So this is basically the story of Susie and her brother, and they have been abused by their parents, and one day they decide that they have had enough and they start a killing spree. That is all I know. I believe this is fictional true crime, but nevertheless I was intrigued, and it is also kind of like a short book, so I'm really excited to get to it. So thanks Leslie to send it my way. Now let's move on to all of the presents that I received from a subscriber called Andreas, and I was overwhelmed and extremely humbled by the amount of presents that he sent me. Like I didn't know what to do with myself. It was like so much, and I already thanked him through Twitter, And if you're watching this, Andreas, thank you so much for everything you sent me. Like, you didn't have to send me so much stuff. I really appreciate it, and I'm very thankful. So many things that I was like, what's happening, what's going on, why am I getting so many presents, why do I deserve this? And yeah, I get like really nervous when I get presents. I get sometimes even uncomfortable. I am somebody that I love to make presents, but when people give me presents, I feel awkward. Okay, so yeah, but I am extremely grateful. First of all, I would like to show you the two bookmarks that he sent me. This bookmark in particular was on my wish list, and it says, "It's not hoarding if it's books." So here is the bookmark, and I love this kind of really big bookmarks for my hardcover books. And I mean, what it says is true, you know, it's not really hoarding if it's books. And the other bookmark that he sent me, it was not on my wish list, but it is one of the most amazing, freaking awesome bookmarks I have ever seen in my whole life. So wait for it. It is this bookmark from outer space. Can you see that? I mean, oh my god, do you see that? It's amazing. The next thing he sent me, it is extremely amazing as well, because it's going to be perfect for when I have long rides on my car, and that is The Sandman. And this is the complete with extras audiobook from Audible, the official one, and in the cast it also includes Neil Gaiman himself. And I am so freaking excited because I've always wanted to listen to audiobooks when I drive my car, but I don't have an MP3 thing on my car, but I do play CDs on my car, so this is gonna be amazing. The next thing he sent me is Lock and Key Volume 5. I love this series so much. I'm so happy. I really would like to finish this year if I can get my hand on the last volumes. I am so excited for this one. I absolutely love it. I've already read from volume 1 to 3, so I'm gonna read at least from 4 to 5 this year. Next, he sent me a comic which is an adaptation of a book, and that is Algernon Blackwood's The Willows. And this follows two women in the 1900s in the wilderness while they face some horrors. I love it. I do want to read more graphic novels this year. I always fail. I always say I want to every year, and then I don't. But you know, now I have new ones, exciting ones, so I hope to get to them. Next, I have a compilation of stories, which is really exciting because they are by a female French author, and it is awesome also to read more books from other countries, and that is Exemplary Departures by Gabrielle Ridkop. And this one follows different stories and tell specific deaths that people had in different countries, hence the title Exemplary Departures. So I guess it's very interesting or very weird ways in which people have perished. Yeah, really excited about this one. The next one is part fairy tale, part historical novel, and it also has to do with Countess Bathory. So when I saw that, I was like, I am so glad you sent this to me, Andreas. And that is Fairest Flesh by K.P. Kulski. I believe this was a 2020 release as well. Honestly, I've always been fascinated by the story of Countess Bathory, so I'm really happy I got this one. Next is a new edition of a classic from the 80s that was voted one of the best books, like horror books, and I have never read, so I'm excited, and also extra excited because it features vampires, and that is Vampire Junction by S.P. Sumpto. It is the 21st anniversary edition of the story, and I'm really excited because I have never read it. And also when I opened the book, look what we find on the inside. I love it already. Next, he sent me Alone with the Horrors, and these are great short fiction of Ramsey Campbell, and this compiles his short fiction from 1961 to 1991, and this is gonna be great for those books that you pick up when you need like a short story or something short before the day ends. And I do love the writing of Ramsey Campbell, so yeah, excited to pick this one up as well. The next one is a book that I didn't know existed WISHLISTed, but I was familiar with the author, and that is Thanks by Sarah Anderson. You probably know her from, you know, these cartoons that she draws about failing at adulthood and cats. Like, that's how I got to know her, and I absolutely loved it. I thought it was hilarious. And apparently she wrote this story, which is a romance between a vampire and a werewolf, and I'm all here for it. Plus, this edition, it is beautiful, it's stunning, and it has black sprayed edges, so happy to have this. And the last thing that he sent me, it is a true crime book that is based on one of those killers that I think still a lot of us are fascinated by, and that is Jack the Ripper. And that is The Five, The Untold Lives of the Women Killed by Jack the Ripper by Hallie Rubenhold. And I love the concept of this book because it is based on the life of these women that were basically not important. The person that we know from these crimes is just a killer. He's the one that got famous, and these women were treated as, you know, nothing because they were prostitutes, and I'm really interested to get to know their stories. It's interesting because not long time ago Netflix released a documentary called The Ripper. It is not based on Jack the Ripper, but somebody that started killing women kind of with the same modus operandi, and this was in the 1970s. And also the press focused on the fact that he was aiming to kill prostitutes, so there was a lot of debate, you know, like, oh, he's doing it to prostitutes because they deserve it. And then somebody got killed that was not a prostitute, and then they took the cases seriously, and I was so disgusted by that. And if you want to check it out, it's a limited series on Netflix called The Ripper, but it also kind of reflects what happened already back when the Jack the Ripper cases were being investigated. And it's just like fascinating to me. I don't know, I'm talking too much about this topic, but yeah, I'm really excited to read this one. And also, if you remove the dust jacket, it is stunning, and it includes the names of the victims. And all of these were books that were sent to me by the author, presents from friends, presents from Andreas. So again, thank you to everybody that has ever sent me anything. Like, I extremely appreciate it. So now it is time to move to the books that I actually bought myself. The first one is A Gathering of Shadows. This is book 2 on what it's called the Shades of Magic series by V. Schwab. I already got the first one in this edition, so I am trying to complete the trilogy before I start reading them. I am getting directly the collector's edition because if you follow my channel, you know that I tend to really like V. Schwab's works, so I'm collecting them in this edition, which is my favorite that I have seen so far. And yeah, so this is book 2. Then I got As Against You by Frederick Backman. After reading Beartown, I knew that I had to pick up the second book. I believe still follows Beartown, but also together with another town, because it says here in the back it is the story of 2 towns and 2 teams. And it also says by the time the last goal is scored, someone in Beartown will be dead. And I was like, the drama, I need this. And I am expecting this book to be beautiful, but I'm also expecting it to break me. And I think because it tends to be perfect for winter, I'm going to leave this one for this November-December months. Next I have Mallory by Josh Malerman, and this is the continuation of the story after Bird Box. So Bird Box is a post-apocalyptic story in which there are some creatures that come to Earth, and you are not allowed to look at them because that can kill you, so people have to cover their eyes, as you can see. And this book, the second book, basically just follows our main character from book 1, which is Mallory, hence the name of the book. I have heard mostly disappointing reviews about the book, but I still want to check it out, and I pre-ordered the paperback that just came out in January because I also own the first book in paperback, so I have been waiting to read it, and now I can. Next I have a book that I picked up because it is what inspired one of my favorite limited series from 2020, and that is The Queen's Gambit. I absolutely freaking love that limited series, and I was in love with Beth, our main character, so I decided to pick up the novel that inspired the series. So we are following this girl, this orphan called Beth, and while she is in this orphanage, she discovers her love for chess, and not only that, but she discovers that she is extremely good at it. And chess is something that she can control. It's one of the first things in her life that she actually has control over, so she gets really fixated on chess and being the very best, and she struggles with the rest of things in her life basically. And I loved her so much as a character that I really want to read the material that inspired the series. Next, I have a spooky middle grade, and that is The Jumbies by Tracy Baptiste. And this is about, parents that tell their children that, the typical stories, like if you don't behave, there's these creatures that are gonna come for you, and they're called the Jumbies. And some of the children start to think that, this is a myth, this is something the parents are just telling them, until one day while they're in the woods, something's moving, something's coming, and they start to be afraid that these creatures actually exist. Our next book is a book that I actually saw Alethea Reads recommend, and saying that it was very atmospheric, very special, and it kind of reminded me to the movie The Lodge, which is one of my favorite movies of 2020, and I decided to pick it up, and that is Mind of Winter by Laura Gasiszke. Hope that was sort of right. And this is about a mother and her adopted daughter that get locked in this house or cabin during a blizzard, and I think the daughter starts to exhibit weird behavior. I'm not really sure. I just don't want to read too much into it. I want to go a little bit more blind into the story, but the kind of like the premise, the look of the cover, it reminded me so much to The Lodge, the movie, that I'm hoping I'm gonna love this one, and I think it's also another one that I'm gonna keep for the winter. The next one is a novella called The House on Abigail Lane by Keelan Patrick Burke, and I got this one because I want to read more horror novellas. I want to support more indie publications, self-published authors, and this one looked so great. Love the cover as well. It is about this house that, since it was built, anybody that goes to the upper floor disappears, and they always leave something behind. It can be a ring, it can be, I don't know, something that they were carrying with them, but it can also be an eyeball. The next one is a self-published book. I saw the author talking about it on Twitter, and I could order it from Amazon, so I thought, I would support them. And that is The House on Moon Creek Avenue by E. Reyes. And of course, the story was also something that intrigued me and also made me want to pick it up. And it is about a single mother that, after a breakup, decides to move into her old grandma's house and, try to start a new life, try to move on with her life. And while she's there with her daughter, weird things start to happen in the house. There is noises, they maybe see things, it's kind of like, I'm guessing, a haunted house story, which it's also amazing. I love haunted houses stories. Also in movies is one of my favorite genres. I don't know why, I just like things that are haunted. Let's be real. So yeah, really excited to give this one a chance as well. And the last book that I picked, and I had to buy this book because I have been obsessed with this book since it came out in 2020, and part of why I'm obsessed with this book and checking it out is because this has been pitched: Stranger Things meets Texas Chainsaw Massacre, two of my absolute favorite things. So I was like, I'm gonna need that book. Okay, and plus the cover of the paperback, it is fantastic, and that is Touch the Night by Max Booth III. And I mean, let me show you this cover. Can you see that? Like, you can totally see the Stranger Things vibes 100%. So we're in a small town in Indiana, and one night strange things start to happen as a couple of teenagers discovers a police car that seems to be driven by something that it's not human. And I was like, Yes, yes. It is kind of like a chunkier book, but I am so excited about this one. I think I need to put it straight into my TBR pile for the year because I am, can you tell I'm excited? I'm excited, guys. I'm excited. Alright, you guys, so these were all the books that I had to talk to you about. This is everything for the first book haul of 2021. And thank you again so much to everybody that has sent me books. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know down below what you thought about the books that I haven't mentioned, and also what is the first book that you purchased in 2021. Let's comment down below. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Please give the video a big thumbs up for support, and if you want to follow me in other social media, as always, the links are down below. I'm gonna also leave linked down below all the people that I have been mentioning throughout these videos so you can check them out, and I hope to see you all guys in the next coffee time. Bye.